Good day, everyone. We are happy to connect with you every single day because we have lovely guests joining us from different parts of India and the world as well. Don't you think it's a beautiful thing to bond with the right kind of people, to be inspired by the right kind of people around us? And on the International Fab Talks, when we get a chance to meet the right kind of people, we invite them here to share their journey, to inspire not only little children, the youth, but also the middle aged and senior citizens. Fab Talks is all about inspiration, and we get this a lot on this platform when we connect with the right kind of people. That's what I've been mentioning earlier. So today, I'm really proud and honored and very happy to meet a like-minded person who would love to connect with all of you, would love to connect and share her thoughts and views in the right way. She's been doing this for many decades, and today she has agreed to share her time with us. You'd love to know who is our guest, my dear friends? I'm sure you'd love to know who is our guest for today. She's none other than Dr. Sharmista Raha, joining us all the way from the lovely city, Kolkata, West Bengal, India. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to the session. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey.
Hi, Crystal. Thank you so much for having me on this particular session. And I'm really excited, to be here and to share my thoughts and, in fact, my views, my opinion, of course, and my lovely city, Kolkata, which is called the City of Joy, as you all know.
Wow, that's really nice. You started it off on a positive note, the city of joy, and you have great reverence for this beautiful city. And I agree with you. There are beautiful people in West Bengal, mostly in Kolkata. I would be biased if I say mostly in Kolkata. Of course, the entire world, we have wonderful human beings. And today we have one sitting right in front of us. It's none other than Dr. Sharmista Raha. Dear ma'am, I go ahead and share your profile and we begin the session.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Dear friends, as you know, it's our duty, it's a honor, and it's a privilege to share the wonderful profiles of our celebrity guests. And today we have the lovely presence of Dr. Sharmista Raha. She's completed a PhD and she's an RJ in Akashvani. She's also the president of WICCI, India Bangladesh Business Council. And she is the proud president of West Bengal Mothers Army, Kolkata. Now, I had more to ma'am's profile. You would love to know more about her as to why she is into all of this. It's a passion to connect with people. It's a passion to bring a transformation. It's the beauty of the human mind wanting to see others bloom while they themselves rise higher. They would love to see the world rise with them. So this is what is the beautiful thought of our celebrity and guest. As I put it in the right way for everyone, she was bred in the hills and domiciled in the city. She longs for the mountains and the forests and the wilderness. I really love this. And I am to somewhere very close over there. I get a lot of peace and satisfaction when I'm connected with nature. She completed a PhD in English literature. She teaches school children and trains them in confidence building. That's really nice. She's a teacher, an entrepreneur, to add to that. And she loves to train them in confidence building. This is what many of us missed out when we were little kids. We were taught all the sums, we were taught all the recitation things, the rhymes, etc. But how to build the real confidence in an individual at the very start of the younger years has been focused by our celebrity guest, none other than Dr. Sharmista Raha. She does that. She trains them in confidence building and personality development. A wonderful professional, like she is an RJ, as I earlier mentioned, for 30 years, 3 decades with All India Radio. That's really nice. Hats off to you for your dedication and perseverance, because completing 30 years in that zone is quite difficult. She dabbles with the microphone and passes time translating Bangla scripts into Queen's English. I repeat that, Queen's English. That's wonderful for the government as well as the private projects. She has worked for a prestigious project for Saifil, Hyderabad. The love for saris and Indian attire lured her to entrepreneurship. This is really nice. I too love the sari. I think many of you would agree. Even people from across Indian borders too would love to drape themselves in this beautiful, unique attire, the sari. She works closely with the weavers and tries to teach them to be digitally savvy and learn the techniques to tap the wider market. Born in a traditional family, she has seen all the women around her draping themselves with hand-woven saris. Having joined a sari group propagated by Sunita Budhiraja, the world of looms opened up before her, and she was enchanted by this. Hence, the handlooms and handmade is her field of interest, and propagating and preserving it is her sole goal. And apart from that, she has other goals and visions for all of us that we will be discussing. She is the president of Mothers Army. We will get to know more about it and the work that she is doing for all of us. She dreams of reviving the handloom industry and believes in what Gandhiji said: the handloom industry ought not to die. I would like to repeat this for all of us. The handloom industry ought not to die. She was awarded the Exceptional Leader of Excellence at the Digital WEF conference in 2021, held in Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. And today we are really glad and happy to have her presence here and share some quiet moments of peace, empowerment, and justice, because I understand people having so many years of professional experience will give their very best and will try to transform our minds. If you would love to transform yourself for the better, do watch this wonderful video when you get a chance to watch it. Dear ma'am, thank you so much for being here. The first very powerful question I'd like to let out first. I'd like to share a question with you and would love to get a wonderful answer from you. You, as the president of the Mothers Army, what is the Mother's Army is the big question. All of the people out there would love to know about this unique concept of the Mother's Army. Is it something related to the real army or the defense background, or is it something else? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Well, Mother's Army actually is a new concept. It is the concept, the mother of the concept, if I could say so, is Dr. Harbin Arora Rai. She has created this platform wherein we women from all around have joined in different capacities. So there is a national head for Mother's Army. She's Parmeet Kaur, and in different states we have these different wings. I had the West Bengal wing. Under West Bengal wing we have the city president, so many cities can have their own president. And again we have a district president who, it brings the districts together. So this is how the hierarchy goes. And Mother's Army is nothing to do with the army in the army. Army here means that group. Why army? Maybe because we want to put that force there. That strength there, instill that courage there. Army brings all these factors together. Mother's Army. It is not only mother in the mother sense, because we firmly believe that all women have somewhere in some corner of their hearts the place of a mother. We are mothers. You see, even in our own family, when there's an elder sister and then she has a brother coming after her, you see, the sister plays a role of the mother in most of the times when the mother is not around. So there is a mother in every female. There is a mother in every woman. So this is all about that. So we, the women, take charge take charge of our complex, of our housing society, maybe in a larger scale of the colony, then of the city, and then the district comes together, and then the whole state together comes in together. For what? To help other sisters in need, to create the awareness about the general health, about the mental health, about their general well-being, about their safety and security. This is basically what Mother's Army is all about. Also help the sisters in need. When women get together, they can do anything, they can win the world. So Mother's Army is more about that, help sisters in need, and join the hands and let everyone know that we are together, no one is alone. That is more or less in a nutshell what Mother's Army is.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. You've given a lot of clarity with regard to Mother's Army and the objectives and the aims that have been achieved till date. And you've really had shared it so well that you would love to continue this journey and build up the lives of all the sisters around us, in the right way, focusing on their physical health, mental health, their emotional well-being, and financial independence. It could be like all of that to transform you into a new person. So that's really nice, because many of the women out there, they are really stuck in their shell. They begin to accept their fate. I mean, there's the situation as this is my fate. But this is a wrong concept. It could change if you meet the right kind of people. There could be transformation, because behind closed doors, we don't know what occurs. And there are several of them keeping mum or silent, not opening up. But I think if they meet the right kind of people or groups, like, for example, Mother's Army, they could really shine and bloom and contribute a lot to the world. As you said, they have a lot of motherly instincts and they could rule themselves well as their surroundings, and not given to any form of abuse. That's what I'd like to focus today. That's wonderful, ma'am. That's great. We'd love to know the little Sharmista, when you were a young kid, what dreams and aspirations did you have?
Well, I grew up in a hill station. When I was very small, I we went to the hill station in Assam called Haflong. There is one hill district in Assam. So there, my father got transferred, and we shifted base. Prior to that, we lived with our grandparents. It was a huge family. I lived with my maternal grandparents actually. So my mother, they were five sisters and three brothers. So eight of them in all, and then all of our siblings together. Most of us, only one aunt lived away. So it was a huge family together. And then from there, we shifted off base to Haflong, a very small hill town. Maybe what I am today is mostly shaped by where I grew up. It was a very small place with each particular hillock having one house. So I remember we lived in one hillock and our immediate neighbor was in another hillock. So there was no way you could reach out to them. There was no phones in those days until unless you went to their place. So we would have a fixed timing kind of a thing, in the evening, 5 o'clock, all the, say, five hillocks together, the children came down together and played together. And dreams in those days, really, I think it wasn't much because there was no television. There was only one radio which maybe broadcast some news at some time. There was no serials to instill the dreams in us. So dreams was what I think, what our books told us, what the storybooks told us, and what maybe our teachers told us in the school. It was a Christian missionary school. So, well, I remember we were all into Enid Blyton those days. So we would queue up in our library to get in the particular book of Enid Blyton, Nancy Drew stories. So our dreams centered around those, I think, basically. Maybe from there we learned so many things. Um, our dreams were shaped by then, I think, because I never saw what I'm doing now back then. But then, of course, that setting changed because when I grew up and came to class 9, my father shifted base and we came to the capital, Guwahati, in Assam, because he decided that would be the best place for me to continue further in my, onward education, my higher education. So we shifted base there. That was a rude shock for me, coming from such a small place to a big, big town. Guwahati was a big town then. Uh, Initially, yes, I had a great difficulty in adjusting to the setting. First of all, I realized I had so many competitors because it was a small place, a small school. I was kind of ruling there, the best. Here you go. Okay, you are best there. Then I came down. I realized there was people so much more talented than me, so much more better in so many aspects. So I had to work hard, study hard, make myself fit for that bigger setting. So that was a change. And maybe that was the time when I gave my class 10. Just before that, the television came in. Asiad, it was the time of the Asiad, the television came in. In our lane, we had one television those days. So that was the beginning of maybe creation of our dreams. And I remember I was an avid fan of Jennifer Arul, and I recently got to meet her last year in Chennai when I went. It was a dream come true because she was kind of an icon for me. I used to sit down to watch her on the television. So maybe somewhere that was in the back of my mind. So when the first opportunity came for me to appear for an audition in All India Radio, it was just a fluke kind of a thing. One of my friends just told me, I heard they're taking people in All India Radio. So I rushed to give in my audition. And my father told me, "You think you can be, you'll be able to do that kind of a job? It is really tough. It is difficult." I said, "No, let me go and give it a try." So that was my getting into Akashvani. And of course, I've been a teacher all throughout my life. I started teaching very early in my life, and there was a small gap between our graduation and a post graduation. So it was at about a year gap. And I joined school. In fact, many of my friends too joined school. So we taught for a year and then came back and did our post graduation. So while I was doing my post graduation, I was teaching a batch of teachers from the rural area and who were much elder to me. And I used to give them, private coaching because they're finding it difficult to cope up with the classes they had just joined. So my teaching journey started along with my own studies. And then when I shifted base, I came to Kolkata. My teaching continued, my Akashvani programs continued, and then came in my love or my attachment with the sari, because when you come to Kolkata, it is the sari, it is the sari, and it is the only attire, and there's nothing else. So slowly I got into the sari. Initially I didn't know much about the handloom and non-handloom, and why should we go in for a handloom attire, not only a sari but attire. That was through the sari group I joined, called 6 Yards in 365 Days. That was by Sunita Buddhi Raja, and she was kind of a god for me because she initiated me into this particular area, which was really great. And I would thank my Kolkata mates who inducted me into the Kolkata group. And then, of course, I got to know Sunita Devi. We lost Sunita Devi in the COVID time. It was a rude shock for all of us because she had been a mother like figure for all of us. But we still continue our campaign. The 6 Yards still uh, sticks around and it is still alive. And through that we realized that how the handloom industry is at a very at a stage where it is almost dying, and it is on us to revive it. Why revive it? Because it is our heritage. Handloom is our heritage, and with handlooms comes the craftsmen and the handicrafts. These are also our heritage. So to keep the heritage alive, to keep ourselves alive, we need to support them. So therein came my love for handloom, and then I joined Wiki, Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is also a wing under Dr. Harbin Arora Rai. I first became a part of Wiki Handloom Council, and then I shifted base to Wiki India Bangladesh Business Council, but still my love for handloom remains. And then I joined Mother's Army too, because I felt that handloom, as a part of the handloom industry and as a part of the Mother's Army also, it in both ways we support women, because when you talk of the handloom industry, there are many women there, especially the crafts industry. There are many women there, and when you take over that, you actually encourage other women also to come to the forefront, take charge, and try and, when other women come, see, if they look at you, maybe five other women become inspired to join you, and then through that five there are 20 other who get inspired to join them. So that is how the army increases, and then we become a reckoning force in the society, because women are a reckoning force in the society. But the only thing is, many women are not aware. So we need to make themselves aware that yes, you are a force and you are to be reckoned with. It is just that you need to know that you are a force. Many women are not aware of that at all, that a family cannot run without a woman. If a woman in the family does not put in her enough contribution, the family does not run. And of course, in the offices, outside in the corporate world, we have seen the presence of the woman now, and how important they are, what role they play. So it is basically all about empowering the women, because that's my passion now, empowering women wherever I go. Because when I coach at home, and I take on students from class 6 onwards, so apart from giving them the education, I always somewhere instill in their mind that that courage, do not lose courage, always be bold, face the situation and things like that. So when I encourage them to write on their own, my topics are usually leaning on that particular aspect. So I try to train them. That is how I try to train them also. That's about it. Maybe I've spoken a lot.
I loved it. I really loved it. That's really nice. You started off as a little girl on the hills, meeting up at a designated time with your friends, like each hillock, as you mentioned, there's a house, and then you all meet up, and there was a radio that was connected to you people, like, or maybe to the outer world. And
That's
then it was one television that, inspired you all to go further ahead. I could recollect my own life story, like with yours, resonates. It resonates a lot. Like one television in the entire colony, or maybe the radio giving you the required information, or just keeping the radio close to your ears and listening to all of that. I really enjoyed that, the way you said. And as you mentioned, you went on to teach, and then you love teaching as well. You began teaching people who are much senior to you. That's also great. And you love teaching, and then went on to join the AIR, and you gave an audition, and it went off very well. That's really nice. And at present, you are focusing on building other women. As you rightly mentioned, without a woman in the house, something's missing. Without her contribution in the right way, or without she being respected or valued in the house, nothing goes in the right way. Everything goes haywire. So a woman has to be respected. That's really nice. I like the way you spoke so highly of the Mother's Army, how they are protecting and encouraging other women, and how it is enlarging. I mean, the strength is increasing day by day. That's really nice. Like we protect one woman, or we guide one woman, she will bring another five together, or others may see her rising up, and they may join in, and then join in, and then that grows into a wonderful army. That's really nice. It should really strengthen. So I would love many of you to reach out to ma'am in order to find out more about Mother's Army and join in, and ask others to join in for the benefit of your own family and for your own career, etc. Ma'am, that's really nice. Now the question here lies: have men come forward in this journey of empowering women? Now, it was created with the sole intention of empowering women. But of course, women can't do it all by themselves. We do require the support of the right kind of men to take it forward. I mean, most of the organizations. So, what I would like to ask here is, Mother's Army, did it receive the right kind of guidance and mentorship from the male members in Kolkata and around the other places where this organization exists?
Well, yes, in West Bengal, if I take it in general, because Kolkata is a part of West Bengal. So yes, men of course have been supporting, because if you go to a colony and if you go to a society, then there are men. Usually, there is a man sitting on top of that ladder. So definitely, you will need his support to move forward. So yes, there are men supporting you always. In fact, men supports you now at the particular stage we are passing through. There are men supporting you always. There could be an exception. Very rarely there are exceptions always. So very rarely there could be an exception, but men do support us, and men have been with us even in the wiki journey. Because when I worked with handlooms and the handloom industry, there are many men who are leading the forefront, and they actually are bringing the women together, empowering the women, teaching them these how to do the technical part of, because when you now are trying to sell a product, you have to be tech savvy, which is the most important thing now. So these men who are leading the forefront in the industry, they are encouraging the women. They are putting in all their 100%. Because I know this particular gentleman, he has with him his wife, both of them work together, and his wife solely devotes herself to empowering the women, in the sense she teaches them the art of selling. And this person particular, this designer, this creator, he does the creativity job. So he teaches the women the creativity job, and his wife teaches them the other part, the art of selling, the art of becoming a technical expert. So they both work as a team together. There are many people like that. So
That's
men are supporting, men are there always with us.
That's so pleasant to the ears to listen, right? That's really nice. So it's like live and let live. There should not be
Absolutely.
selfishness or patriarchal thought process or mindset. There should be a little progressive thought or progressive approach towards the empowerment of women. Certain men are rigid in their thought process and wouldn't like to support or allow their women folk to join and come forward. But in spite of all that, I would love all the women to break the barriers, come forward, join Mother's Army, and the right kind of organizations like Mother's Army, etc. And as well as you mentioned, WICCI, that is known as a wiki. Am I right?
Yes.
That's really nice. And empower yourselves in the right way. Don't wait for anyone to push you. You take the first leap of faith and believe in the unknown and the unseen. That's really nice, dear. I would love to know one thing, ma'am. Any incident that you cannot forget in your life as a little child? Were you lost anywhere, somewhere, or maybe like you did some mischief and then your parents scolded you, or in class you were quite mischievous, something like it was adventurous? It was quite funny at the same time. You have learned your lesson too in the same situation, something like that. Do you like to share that?
Well, yes, if I may share this, if you ask me, well, I was not a mischievous person at all. I was always the quieter kind. And I was never this assertive. I never saw myself as a leader. That somewhere down the line, the change happened. Uh, because maybe where I grew up, how I grew up, I never needed to assert myself. So it was a very quiet and sedate life. But if you want me to share this, I would like to share this near death incidents I had. I had this near death incidents with every means of transport. I nearly fell off a cliff from a jeep. It was pretty early in life when I was first year in college. Our jeep almost overturned a hillside. That was my first experience. Then, when I shifted base to Kolkata, I almost got run over by a tram first. I almost got run over by a speeding bus. I almost got run over by a local train, but I was saved. So I actually, when you asked me this, just recently penned down this for a particular puja souvenir magazine, because as you age and you become more reflective. So when I wrote these incidents, I never thought about that. But when you age, you start becoming more, more thoughtful, maybe. So when I was reflecting on my past life, I thought, yeah, these incidents happened. So somewhere I feel it's a hand of God, that God stopped me and said, no, you have some more things to complete in your life. So you've got I'm going to give you one more chance. So every time he gave me one more chance, one more chance, one more chance. So I'm still here. Which means I have to complete some more job. My job is not all done or complete. So God has decided something for me. So I feel whatever is coming now my way is God has decided. So you need to do this now. Okay, now you need to do this, because things have been coming to my life like this. At every stage something new has come in, and I have always lapped up everything that has come up to me. I never said no to anything. So I this is what I feel is a gift of God, or maybe as some kind of a signal from God. That's what I want to share with you. You're muted, ma'am.
Yes, dear. Thank you, ma'am. I just put myself on mute to listen to you carefully. And as I was listening to you, I was getting goosebumps, and I still do have, because you shared all of that. And I think for the first time on the Fab Talk, somebody has shared this like this. Like they have a very close shave uh, to death, like no, very close to death, and then saved for the at the right moment, take of the time, maybe, or survived, the worst of the situations. It's like rebirth. And I'm sure the Lord or the Almighty above keeps us alive for some reason or the other, to give back to the society for a larger, uh, you know, maybe the Lord has some larger projects in his mind, in his
Yes,
heart,
yes, yes.
and he gets it executed through people like you. That's really nice. And hence you've been saved several times. That's really nice. I'm unable to get myself out of that.
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
just
sorry.
like, trying to put myself into that and see how did you feel. So because no, it's not once or twice, you had it more than twice, twice, thrice you had it, right?
Yeah, what's surprising is when these things happened early on, it happened quite early, because the last shave was pretty early, at
Mhm.
least if I look back, at least 15 years back. But now, when I've crossed 50, then I started reflecting and I thought, my goodness, how dangerous those things were. And each time when this incident happened, each time there was a particular person saving me. Recently, when I wrote this down, then I gave a good thought to those incidents, and then I looked back and I thought, yeah, each time there was a particular person, suddenly there was a person saving me. uh, Maybe it happened because I came from a small town to a big city like Kolkata. It was a long time for me to adjust to this big city with so many people. So maybe these small mistakes you make, those were I'm sure a reason why these things happen. But each time it happened, there was someone who saved me at the last moment. Always I turned back and I saw there was a hand, pulling me, pushing me, or something like that. So that is how at this stage I feel, yes, that was the hand of God saving me each time.
Wonderful, dear. So there are guardian angels around us. Yes,
Yes,
we
yes,
might have
yeah. So
not
I
seen
believe
the
in them for,
Almighty, but we do see them in His creation around us.
yes.
That's
There
true.
is a God present everywhere, always, and He is there all around us, and we just need to see and feel His presence. That is what I feel always.
Yes, dear. That's really wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's really nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a bit shaken from in, but then again, I have to get back my composure. That's really nice. Because
Yeah,
it's the first time I'm hearing this from somebody like, you know, it 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 requires guts and resilience to share all of this. It's just not easy to recollect all of those incidents and share that. That's really nice. I think many of them would relate with what you've shared. They too might have been through such incidents earlier. For me, I feel, when I feel like, why this life? When I face certain issues, like some type of tough times in life, maybe with my children or with my spouse or with my in-laws or with my work, I've always questioned, why so much of suffering and why do we need to live? Any of you are going to die. Why do we need to suffer such things and then die? It's better like death comes and we go away happily, and that's the end of everything. I've always contemplated on that thought. But then if I'm alive today and sitting right in front of you and conducting this session, like, I think there must be a purpose for continuing the
absolutely.
tough,
Yes.
overcoming the tough tides and facing the tough times in our lives. Like, I could relate with what you've shared. That's really nice. Now, ma'am, apart from that, I would like to ask you about your college life. Did you bunk classes anytime? And what about love? How would you define love for all of the young people? Over to
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I changed when I came to college. We all changed maybe when we went to college because we came from a very strict Catholic missionary background where life was very strict. Even our skirts were measured in centimeters. Your skirt is a 1 centimeter up the knee, and that is very wrong. You shouldn't have done this, things like that. So but then that is very necessary to frame you for the future life. That strict background we had, I think, shaped all of us. All our friends shaped us for the tough life ahead of us. And then we came to college. So in our days, college was very early. Class 11 was in college. I studied in Cotton College, Guwahati. So class 10 was, our missionary school was still up to class 10, and then class 11 was in college. For the first time, we tasted freedom. There was no rule, no class bar, and a Cotton colleges those days, in fact, it still is. It spread around a wide area. So for one particular class, it is this particular building. For the other class, you literally run to the other building. Whoever reaches there earlier gets the first benches. Why first benches? You might ask why first, because it's better to sit behind, because you can't hear anything. It was a huge group of students for the economics class. So if you are behind, you won't be able to hear anything because the people behind never listen to what the teacher is saying. So we'd rush, 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 hurry, hurry, and go to the classes. But that was only the initial days. Later on, we decided which teacher to bunk and which teacher to attend. So finally, it became like, the particular teacher, no, no attendance for him. So we were given warnings. You didn't attend a particular single class of mine. So again, three classes, we decided no, three classes for this particular teacher. And there were some teachers we didn't want to pay attention to, but we had to attend for attendance. So those particular teachers, the back seats were reserved for us. And sometimes we blissfully used to decide we're going to bunk today. And so sit in a particular place, steps of a particular building. That was our adda place. So you would sit there for the entire second half and not attend blissfully any single class, but have loads of fun. College was fun. Cotton College, we had loads of fun. And if I can share this with you, those days we didn't come with lots of money in our pocket. Because those days there were not so many means of earning. When you were starting, you were only a student. So we were only students then. So my father would count the bus fare and give me. Every morning he would count. My bus fare was 50 paisa up and 50 paisa down. So he would count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and give me 1 rupee every day. So it's not only me, a few of my friends also, was the same face, the same thing. So what we would do is we would one way come walking back from college, save that 50 paisa, But that was not enough to buy one roll for one person. So we could only buy one roll for two persons. So two of us would buy one roll, cut it into half, and share. There was a roll joint very near to our college. Our college was in Pan Bazaar, so that's a bazaar area. So we would go to that particular shop, buy one roll, cut it into half. Two of us would share it at the end of 1 week, I think. But that was fun. That was the fun those days we had. But today's generation, if you tell these things, they don't really understand because monetarily we have improved a lot. Nowadays there is no money crunch. I think there are so many means of earning. Children nowadays do not know what is want. Our days we'd have to ask our father for a pencil, wait for 1 whole week till that pencil arrives. But nowadays I think children have more than they want, and they don't feel the need anymore. There's no urge to get something. They get it before they don't even ask for it. So that is a difference. But then that was fun in our days. Fun in these days, I think, is different.
That's really nice. You make me nostalgic. You make me remember all about my earlier days too as well.
Yeah.
Bunking is a matter of choice, and which lecturer's class to bunk. That is something, I
Yes.
just
Yeah.
went back to my own days. Like, we decide, shall we, whose class to bunk? That's one very true thing which I could very well resonate. And of course, like about the bus money, you also mentioned that, like one fare you use it for, traveling, and the other one just walk, use that money, have something to eat. You mentioned the roles. That's really nice. I could visualize all of that. That was really great fun, ma'am. That's really nice. And as you mentioned, the younger generation today, they have a lot of in excess. Unasked for, they are given a lot, and yet they have a lot to complain. As you mentioned, one pencil, we had to use it for the entire week till it was just a stub like that,
Yes.
a little one. But today's children are very well privileged, I guess. So I think they should be having a lot of
Yes, they are a privilege now.
gratitude. They should be having a lot of gratitude and compassion to share it with the underprivileged. It's wonderful, dear. That's great. Now, you, as they expect the Indian society and the world around, cooking. So have you mastered the art of cooking? Or like you are just a survival cook like me?
Well, that cooking has always been a gray area for me. I haven't mastered it. I have learned cooking because it's a necessity. I think you cannot survive if you don't know how to cook. Uh, so I learned it because you need to learn cooking uh, to survive. That is what I feel. My husband is a good cook. He can cook the special dishes, and my daughter is a lovely cook. She has, I think, inherited that quality from her father. So, but yes, I know the general meal, proper meal, what we normally eat at home. I know all of that. But if you ask me to cook something special, I would rather say, okay, I'll tell my husband, why don't you cook that? I would rather, do the other part. Maybe I would prefer do the shopping and buy the stuff and ask him to cook. So I haven't mastered that art. I'm not a good cook, and I don't really have much interest in learning how to cook. I don't know why. God has not given me that particular, but I know how to cook or what to cook to survive. Suddenly someone arrives at my home, I'll be able to give that person something, serve something, which that person would be able to eat. Maybe not a very special something, in those flamboyant names nowadays people serve, maybe as a dessert type or maybe as a starter or something, but a general two-course meal for a normal Bengali home, I'll be able to serve that. That's about my cooking
That's really
skills.
nice. You shared that so well. That's really nice. And as you mentioned, like I'm not an experienced cook or maybe an expert cook, but I have survival skills for cooking and I can manage a set of guests. That's really nice. Ma'am, we'd love to know about your pet name or how people called you with love when you were a young kid. Because your entire name is Dr. Sharmista Raha at present. So when you were a little kid, how did your parents call you with love? Do you have a small, beautiful name that they called you with?
Yeah. In each Bengali home, there is always, it's a must to have a pet name. No Bengali is called by their good name at home. So likewise, my maternal side, They call me Tip Tip, Tip, Tip. That is my pet name my family gave me. But in college, my friends, Sharmista, they thought it's a very big name, so they shorten it to Sammy, Sammy, very, westernized version of an Indian name. So my friends mostly call me Sammy. And well, doctor, I got the doctor very late on in life. Well, that is another story to tell you, I think. So these are the two names I go by. And in Kolkata, mostly people call me by Sharm. But in Bengali, we don't say Sharmista. In Bangla, we don't say ah, it all becomes O. So it is Shormista. So
Sorry.
everyone calls me Shormista. That is a very common Bengali name because the era I belong to, that particular age I belong to, that um, every household I think has one Shormista. It's a very common Bengali name of that generation I belong to. And the doctor part, since you mentioned, it just came to my mind. I got it very late in life. I got my doctor degree after COVID. Uh, that was a in my back of my mind. I wanted to take this degree, but because I shifted base to Kolkata, and shifting and getting married, coming, adjusting to a new setting, everything new, it never did happen. Then suddenly it was at the back of my mind, and I saw this ad by this particular university in Jaipur, so I just filled up the form, and I went, traveled all the way to Jaipur to give this interview, and got through. And that's how my journey started. But then it was very difficult finishing it so late in life. It's very difficult to concentrate once you give it up. Concentrating on studies is difficult, very difficult. So somewhere I started again losing that particular zeal. But my guide kept on pushing me. He kept on pushing me. Every day there was a call. Once I finished the deadline, he would call me. What happened? What happened? What are you doing? What are you doing in Kolkata? You have to finish this. Then again, I put in my effort and my zeal, and then I finally got this particular degree. That was, I remember my daughter had passed her degree, and she was in posted at that particular time in Bangalore. So she joined. I went to Jaipur to get my degree, and she came down from Bangalore to join me in Jaipur. So both of us were there when I got my degree in the college. So that is how that
Congratulations.
happened. Thank you so much. It was very
Congratulations.
late in life, but then yeah, I got it finally.
Congratulations once more. Because that's really an achievement. You see, like many of us give up on our education, give up on our dreams of acquiring that title, doctor. But I love your spirit. And I think all of us should take a leaf from your journey and, continue our journey of, furthering our educational pursuits or, giving out the very best from within ourselves. We all have that within us. Only we need the little push that, as you mentioned, like you were
Yes.
given that extra nudge by your guide, and then hence you finished it. That's really nice. And age is not a matter. Anyone could go forward at any age and try to fulfill all their dreams, or maybe what was on their bucket list, to tick it off and say, yes, I've done it. You're one
Yes.
great example, dear. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Welcome, dear. Actually, we should thank you because you're sharing all of this and inspiring all of us in the right way. That's great. Ma'am, how has motherhood transformed you? Let me put that right. How has motherhood transformed you?
Well, yes, motherhood, I think, really transforms every woman. Motherhood is a different journey altogether. And I have been actually single-handedly managed my daughter when she was in her initial years till about class 8 or 9, because my husband worked in the merchant navy, and I was in this big city, totally unknown to me. Even the language was not very familiar to me because I've been in Assam all throughout my life. So I'm not very familiar with the Bengali language too. But now, of course, I've mastered the language here. So those days I remember it was very difficult being a mother because I had to manage my daughter, putting her to school, bringing her back from school, again juggling my career because I didn't want to give up everything. Because once you give up, people always say, give it up, you can always start later on life. But that starting again is very difficult. And most of the time, that gap is filled up by someone else, and you don't really get a chance again until, of course, you are very talented. That is a very small percentage of people. So, in a big city, I am an alien here. So, people took me for a ride, starting off with my driver, who would every morning play a prank and decide not to come. And my daughter got admitted to a school which was pretty far from my home. And there was no way I could drop her without a car. So I had actually learned driving before that, but never got down to driving on the road because my husband never liked it. He said, it's a big city, you need not drive. But then I realized, this man is playing with me because he's realizing this woman is all around. So one fine day, I pulled up the shutter of my garage, took out the car, and I told my daughter, come in, I'm going to drop you down. That's how my driving on the Kolkata road started, also. Me belonging to such a small place and a small town, I would never have thought of driving on the roads of Kolkata, but that is how I started because I decided no, people are taking me for a ride and I will not allow them to take me for a ride. So I would drop her to school, and the school was the initial 2 years for a very short period. So I drop her there, found a place to park my car. There was a small market around, so I would do my daily bazaar from there, wait in the car, pick up my daughter back, and then bring her back. That is how my driving journey also started. And later on, of course, yes, it was difficult managing her school also because at a particular time I realized, because then I had my coaching center. So when my daughter came back from school, I would either put her to a coaching here or take her with me to my coaching center. But somewhere down the line, I realized her studies were suffering somewhere. Maybe because where I put her to coaching, she was not really adjusting very well, or because I was concentrating too much on my coaching my students and neglecting her a bit. So I had to shut down my coaching center for some time and shifting the entire thing to my home. I started coaching at home then, fixed up a particular area in my sitting room for my particular coaching. In that way, I could keep a watch on her. Slightly difficult to manage all alone because my husband was not always around. But then later on, I think when she was in class 9, my husband came back, and he took her 1 year back when my daughter was in class 11, because 12 exams is really important to get through all those colleges and important streams you've decided to take up for a particular career. So then, yeah, but then my daughter was also already grown up, and then, but then my daughter changed after she went to hostel. I think single child, I have one daughter only, so maybe single child phenomenon, they get all the attention. They're used to getting what they want because, as again I said, their generation is different from ours. So once she went to college, I was so happy. I never wanted my daughter to study in Kolkata because then she would be going from home and the same setting, and she would not learn the art of sharing, learn the art of adjusting to small amounts of maybe the food or whatever was there. There would be a rationing in the college. It's always there. You're never happy with the food that is served. You're never happy with the room you have. You are even never happy with the roomie you've got. So there are always complaints around. And somewhere in the middle, you learn to adjust. So I was so happy when my daughter went to the hostel, and every day she would call me up initially and give a long lecture. I would very patiently listen and keep quiet because I knew that was a step for her to learn that the world is not the comfort of the home she is in. World is a much bigger place, and the world is a much difficult place. So I always believe that each child should be in a hostel for a particular time, even if it is a very small time. That brings a great change, I think, in the children. They learn all these arts, which is very necessary. Even when you go to in a job, you join an office, there also you have to share and adjust with the other colleagues all around, adjust to your boss, take in all the hard things he's telling you. And this is necessary, I think, for each child to grow up in their life. So, well, I think I've summed up what you said, maybe.
That's nice, ma'am. You've shared that so well. And I could get that beautiful picture. I could just imagine that picture of you driving the car for the first time and taking the risk and being successful at it. That's really nice. And thereon, you went on sharing all the other different aspects that were connected to your daughter and how she grew up, and then how your husband came back because he was into the army, right? I mean, the
The
Navy
merchant
force,
navy, have a
the
merchant navy.
Navy, the Navy. That's really nice. That's very interesting. And the way you said this, right? They were taking me for a ride. That's really true. When we are quite new to the city, or if we
Yes,
don't know the language, people take us for people take us for a ride, and all of us should be very careful with this. You should be able to read people, and never trust people who are very sweet when they talk. You should be very, very careful, irrespective of gender. This is for everyone. Don't blindly fall in just for sweet talk, or maybe it could just be, people
yes.
who will be appear to be very sweet in the front, or
Mhm.
maybe the first time they meet you, but then they'll have poisonous intentions in their heart and mind. But we don't know, right? That's
Absolutely.
really nice that you shared that and created some awareness. So I would love all of you to be really cautious online and offline, dear friends, because online also there's a lot of trapping going around and a lot of scams going around, especially for senior citizens and the housewives at home. They're getting trapped, and even government officials, they are being trapped online, honey trapped online, to stay safe online and offline. That's great. Now, one thing I'd love to ask you, Dr. Sharmista Raha. Did I get your name right now?
Yes, yes, right, right, right.
I wanted to get it right. Yes, dear. What did you learn from your daughter? It's usually we keep on teaching our children, but at a certain point of time, we ourselves learn something from our children, which we didn't have all these years. We didn't focus on or didn't reflect upon that wonderful quality. So, what did your daughter teach you in return, or what you look at her and admire that in her?
Yes, one particular thing I will admit here is my daughter is very cool and calm. You will shout in front of her, you will have your throat in your hand, but she will let you finish everything and then she will say whatever she has to say. She is that calm a person. I am just the opposite. I react instantly. If I am angry, I am angry at that particular moment, and it is all written all over my face. You will, anyone sitting next to me will realize this lady is getting angry. Slowly, she's, you know, her temperature is rising slowly, slowly. But my daughter has taught me that there are times when I, think about her. There are times when I compose myself and think, oh no, see, that was a particular time I was shouting at her and she never did react. So I have to be like her now at this particular point of time. Never react instantly. That is the worst possible thing, actually. If you react instantly, you don't even realize what the actual incident is, what the actual situation is, because you never let the other person finish it. So this is what I learned from her. I think that particular quality of hers has helped her a lot to rise in life, because at the particular moment she's in UK, and she is much more matured than children of around her age, and they all look up to her, because many times I get calls from her friends' parents telling that we feel very happy that she's there around with my daughter. So, and there are times when I've heard that some particular person is sick, particular she's the one who takes charge and takes them to the hospital and all. I feel proud at particular time. Okay, that's my daughter. I always want her to be like that. But maybe this is the quality which really helps. She's that calm and composed, which is very important. I think a storm can pass over her. You look at her, you will not even realize that a storm is passing over her. That is one thing I think I have learned, but I don't think I have learned totally. I still am hot headed, but well, with age, I think you become sedate. That is what I think I've become calmer because of that, rather than learning much from her. But that is one quality which I would love to have. That really helps a lot in many situations. Keeping a cool head is so very important in life.
A great tribute. You shared a great tribute for your daughter. That's really nice. That's beautiful. Sharing a wonderful tribute for the people you love and the things that you learn from them. It could be as close as family members, our children, our loved ones, and as well as strangers and people across. our path, whoever cross our path. That's really nice. You shared that so well. And I'm sure your daughter will be really happy to hear this. Yes, dear. Ma'am, you are also a pet mom, right? How do you express this journey now or explain this journey for us? Being a pet mom also is a source of satisfaction when you see the little pup or the little kitten coming to you, or whichever little pet you have coming up to you for comfort and love. Over to
Uh, I got in this particular pet. She's a Labrador, and I got her when she was 2 months old. That was purely by chance. A friend of mine had taken her in intentionally to keep her, but someone in his family passed away. So one particular night, he came in carrying that small Labrador in his lap and said, "Could you keep her for a few days?" I said, "Okay." And my daughter was very small then, so we both lapped her up, and that was it. Uh, she never, Cookie, we call her, she never went back to her original owner. Since then, Cookie has been with us, but Cookie, I think, has had a great therapeutic effect on my daughter. Sometimes a single child faces a lot of problem, and Cookie, I think, somewhere came in between there and helped a lot in my daughter's. That I said she's so calm and quiet. I think Cookie has been that soothing effect on my daughter. Cookie is now 11 years old. She's been with us for 11 years now. But apart from Cookie, I have a lot of birds at home. Well, I bought a pair of cockatiel birds. From that, they have multiplied, and I have 18 cockatiels, and I have got two other varieties of birds. I have the budgerigars, and I have these lovebirds. I also have two aquariums, fish aquariums in my home. So this is my menagerie. I did have two rabbits, but then both of them are now dead. One was a pitch black, only the eyes would be visible at night, and otherwise no color. And the other one was a brown color rabbit. They both, uh, the black one, we called him Vampy, from Vampire. My daughter named him Vampy, said Vampire, so Vampy. So Vampy lived for 8 years, and the other one was Pong, from Ping Pong. We called him Pong. So Pong lived for 11 years. So after that, I was told no more rabbits. You can live with the others, but no more rabbits. So I've stopped uh, bringing any more new rabbits. So at the moment, my manager is limited to these only. You're muted, ma'am.
Yes, dear. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I was just giving you all the time to answer that. I usually do that when I'm on the show. I mute myself such that I give, no, I don't disturb anybody or any noise
Right?
from my
Yeah.
end shouldn't disturb. So that's really nice. I really feel happy when you share these things, like when you share this. I have a lot of pets around me, and pets are sometimes very therapeutic. They have a good influence on our lives. That's really nice.
You can't imagine in the morning when I wake up, the cockatoos, they sing.
Mm-hmm.
So early morning, they always sing. So I am a very early riser. I have to rise because I have got so many pets around me. And this cockatiels, they sing. They only sing, and I wake up every morning with
The alarm bell.
yes. And you can't imagine how soothing that can be. Whatever happened the previous night, and I wake up in the morning, and these birds and all around me, they just make you forget everything. Then you realize it's another new day. It's a fresh beginning again.
This is a beautiful part I haven't known about you, that you love pets so much and you're connected with them and they are reciprocating your love. I mean, that bonding. That's really nice, Dr. Sharmista. That's really wonderful. We now talk about saris. When you select a sari, are you very choosy about the color, the print, the texture? What is it? Over to you.
Yes, I'm very choosy about my color. I do not wear very bright colors. I don't know why, but there's no particular reason. It's usually white and black which attracts me. There are reds in my cupboard. There are greens, a few greens, and a few blues, but the missing will be yellows and pinks. These are missing in my wardrobe. So when the dress code is set, this is the particular color code. I'm always rummaging through my cupboard whether I have this. Oh, I don't think I have this color. So what will I wear? There's a panic all around me. I'm very choosy. Texture, yes. My skin, I have a very sensitive skin, and Kolkata being a very hot place, I cannot wear silks or synthetics. I'm into handlooms anyway, so synthetics are a no for me anyway. But silks also I cannot wear. I'm basically into cotton handlooms, and I am very choosy about the kind of prints and the motifs I wear. I do not go in for something very loud. A very loud motif doesn't attract me at all. I design my own saris also. There is always, I'm cutting this bit from there and adding this bit up here. And my attire also is usually cut and made from something else. There are times a particular kurta maybe, has worn off. And I feel that particular motif is so attractive. Why should I give it away? So I cut that particular off and put it in a particular another new kurta. Maybe I make another one like that. Even my sari blouses, I usually do that. Sometimes I had a chicken curry trouser which suddenly gave way, and I felt very sad. How can I give away with this chicken curry thing? So I called the tailor home. He got very annoyed with me initially. I said, "You cut off the trouser was intact, just and the thigh portion it gave way." So I told him, "You cut off, you cut off the lower portion of the trouser. You can use it for the sleeves of my blouse, and I'm giving you another piece of cloth which you can make the body." Got very annoyed. Went back, giving me loads and loads of blessings. And he came back. It was a very nice one. He cried. Then I told him, "See, look at you. You made this. I didn't make it. I just told you to make it. See, you have created." So I, told him, "See, you are a creator. I just gave you the idea. See, you could have created this from a piece of cloth which would have been thrown away otherwise." So he went back a little bit wise at the end of the day after the lecture I gave him. So yes, I'm a little bit choosy about, and I don't like wearing what everyone else is wearing. That has been with me from very young because my mother knew how to stitch clothes. Those days, I think many women knew it. So I remember I would come back from school. It was since my school days. Open the magazines and find out a particular design which attracted me, and then my mother and myself we would sit down. She would cut it, and then I would tell her the neck should be like this. This particular piece should be attached here, and stitch it like that. So that was it's there from there very early on in life.
Yes. That's really nice. Thank you for sharing all of that. You've given us a wonderful example. And I love the way you shared about the tailor. And then when he brought the final product, like, the ready-made product
Yes.
which he created, as you said, I gave him the idea and he created it. So he is the creator. That's really nice. Very interesting. Ma'am, you've also been in Hyderabad. You've been a part of Saifal. If you could explain that, if you'd love to, and we'd love to hear that as well, if you'd like to share.
Yeah. It's not exactly in Hyderabad. It was a project from Hyderabad. So it was a movie project on Shukumar Roy. Shukumar Roy is the he is a nonsense writer. So he writes poems of the nonsense genre, and he's a very famous. There are actually only three nonsense poets in the world. He's one from Bengal, and Shukumar Roy, they were making this movie on Shukumar Roy. So this project, my friend actually, he backed the project, and he wrote me in for this project. So I acted as an anchor in the particular movie. The movie was made bilingually, Bengali and English. So I did the English version. While doing the English version, I was asked to translate because he originally had written it in Bangla, and not all his poems are translated into English. So I had translated a few of his nonsense rhymes in English, which went as a subtitle in the entire movie, apart from acting in it. So that was how I was connected with the CIFL project.
Wow, that's another one. Another feather in your cap. That's great.
Thank
That's
you.
interesting. Very interesting. As we've mentioned earlier, you come from a traditional family. but now you're a progressive thinker, empowering other women. How would you define freedom now? What does freedom mean to you, and what it meant earlier, and what does it mean now as of today?
Freedom, I think, is being yourself. Freedom, I think, is a misnomer now. Sometimes people feel that if you just walk out of your home, if you just wear a particular attire, if you can drive on the road, or things of that sort, then you are asserting your freedom. I don't think it is very true. You can be a free person even if you are within the closed doors of your home, because freedom is in the mind, I think. Because if I look back, I would say my mother was a very progressive lady, and she was, and I think she instilled these ideas, seeds of freedom in me. Because she would design her own clothes, she would decorate her home according to her ideas, and at the end of the day, she would finish all her work by the afternoon. Whenever I came back from school or college, my mother would be tip top, dressed up. I am very lazy that when I'm at home, I never want to change for the evening. I'm like that, shabbily dressed in the evening also. My mother would always be dressed up in the evening in a starched cotton sari. At the end of the day, she would always put nail polish on her fingers and make herself prim and proper. And she would be out in the evening with her group of lady friends, spend the evening in a, and there were times when they would visit these neighboring homes of the people of the lower strata of the society, and help them collect money and help them whoever needs some help or whatever. Should be doing this long back, so many years back. When I'm talking about this, you can imagine how many years back it was. So she was a very progressive lady. So it is all in the mind. I think if you can, if you think you are free, you are free. But freedom doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get out of your clothes and wear very, um, what should I say, aping the West, something which is not really appropriate for the society you belong to. Just because you think that you're wearing the particular attire, people will think you are free, you are very modern. I don't think that is true. Freedom is in the mind. You can be looking very modern, and you may not be modern in your mind, you may not be free in your mind. So first read your mind of all these blockages you have, and then you are free, I think. And another thing I would like to say, nowadays when people talk about empowering women, they often use it as a misnomer for stepping into the man's world. I don't think that
Mhm.
is true. I feel a woman has her own place in the society. We need not necessarily infringe into the man's world. Be in your own world, assert yourself, and create your own domain. And that man, I think, will be bound to bow his head down and accept your presence, whether in his life, whether in his home, whether in the office, or whether in the particular society you're living in your colony, wherever you're living. Do your work, and I'm sure everyone is bound to accept your presence. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go out and fight and show you everyone that, oh, you are empowered woman and you are fighting for freedom. No, I don't think it is true that way, because I never went out fighting for freedom. I just thought, you assert yourself. When I think this is right, this is right, and I've spoken out that no, this is right. I think that much would be enough for every woman to create her own place in the society, even at home. When you think something is wrong, I think each woman should speak out and assert, well, this is not what I think is right, this is what is right. I think that is how you will assert yourself, and that is the whole idea of freedom.
Yes. Thank you for giving that beautiful tip. I know the way you expressed all of that with lots of clarity, how one should be empowering themselves. You gave the wonderful example of your mom, and I could visualize that she would be in a starched, wonderful sari and going out, enjoying her time and having compassion for the underprivileged. That's really nice, taking care of herself, taking care of the house. As you mentioned that very well, like you need not ape the West. You can dress in a very modern way, but your mindset or your thoughts could be quite regressive. All of that, you put that very well. That's really nice. You know how to put your thoughts in a very efficient way, ma'am. I really applaud you for that. That's right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dear ma'am, I've read this. I don't know how far it's true. Men suffer more heart attacks than women. And the reason behind this is women cry a lot, they emote a lot. I mean, they let out their pent up emotions, where men hold on to their emotions, they don't express themselves. So, that has been one reason for most of the heart attacks occurring for the male members. Now, I don't know how far this is true. I've just read that. Do you have any information about it, or would you like to speak about mental health for both the genders? I mean, for this, it is not.
Well, here I would like to just tell, in very short, I would like to tell this that again, this is a part played by the society, isn't it? This is
Mhm.
the rules laid by the society that a man always has to put up a stiff upper lip. A man cannot show his emotions. A man should always be strong, and a woman has all the right in the world to cry, to shout, and to do everything, while the man has to be quiet because he has to lead the front. The moment that changes, a man also can show his emotion. In today's world, when we have changed, generations have passed, a new generation, uh, this Gen Z now, they are a different lot. A man now, a man of this particular generation, they don't hesitate to cry. They do not hesitate to express themselves. They do not even hesitate to admit that they are at fault. And they are very happy to admit that their partner, their life partner, is better than them, which a man in the previous generation could not do so, because that was this unwritten rule laid down by the society for the patriarchal society. The patriarch cannot be wrong. A patriarch cannot show his emotions, because the moment a patriarch breaks down, it means the patriarch is weak. No, not at all. But those were the rules laid down by the society. But I think that has changed now. A man in today's society, do not hesitate at all. I've seen that change in today's society. Today's society, there are so many men looking after home. They have taken up the home jobs. They work from home. They look after their home, while their partner could be, working in a hospital. Because in our family, in my immediate family, I have my sister-in-law, a very successful doctor. So her husband have decided to take up the work from home. So he is doing work for. It's not that he's doing bad. He is doing very well, but he's working from home. So in turn, he gets time with his daughter, who is now, of course, grown up, but that was a particular stage when she was very small. While my sister-in-law, she's a very brilliant girl, very brilliant. She's done very well in life. So she went on to do, taken up lots of degrees in medical science. She's a doctor. So she did that part, and he has adjusted himself, and they're very happy as a family. So I think it's all about that. That is what the modern world, I think, the change has brought about. So that is how I think you can reduce this heart attacks. A man need not always show that I'm strong. Of course, how can you be always strong? You are also a human being. You also need to show your emotions, isn't it?
Very well answered. Thank you so much. Proud of you because you shared that so very well. That's really nice because of the societal pressure or the societal terms and conditions which have been laid unfairly. You know, that has really brought certain changes in the mindsets of people. But today, people are really, crossed all those societal expectations and the boundaries and are very progressive. That's really nice, ma'am. Ma'am, one last question with regard to the environment.
Yes.
Now, being the president of the Mother's Army and as well as connected with Wiki, how do you think you people are contributing as a team, as a whole unit, uh, to protecting the environment in the right way? Are you all taking up any steps? Over to you.
Well, we haven't done anything regarding the environment, because we are a very new organization as such. But yes, when we are told that you are in charge of a particular society, housing society, or a particular colony, or a district, yes, environment definitely falls there. Because when in future we'll be going out, we are in fact planning now to go, towards the suburbs. So when we go towards the suburbs, this is what definitely we'll have to educate the people about environment, uh, the importance of keeping the environment clean, which means uh, mm, having clean toilets at home first, which is so very important, then the clean surrounding, and finally, the importance of having trees in our surroundings. Protect the trees which are there, and also plant new trees. Every time a tree is cut, they say you need to plant 10 more trees. So that is how you can create a balance, because out of those 10, 8 will die, so only two will survive. So that is how you create a balance in the environment we're living in. And most importantly, we're going to leave this world for the future generation. We're going to give them as a, because we are just preserving it and keeping it for the future generation. So yes, environment definitely will play a big role in our future endeavors.
Excellent, excellently. That's wonderful. That's really nice. One last question. The best gift you've received till date?
uh, well uh, well, maybe my daughter, because she came at a particular stage in my life. I was sailing with my husband, and then I conceived her when I was still sailing. And I remember we had to get down from the ship in Panama. They offloaded us. The moment they realized that I was carrying, they offloaded us in Panama. So uh, I came back home from there in Panama, and then that was the best gift, because I changed. My life changed after that. I settled down, sort of, and my sailing stopped, and I settled down, and then my home grew. I started making my home after that. So that was a change in my life, I think.
That's really nice. I'm sure your daughter will be very happy to hear this towards the end. That's really nice, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your time. I wouldn't want to let you go, but then again, I respect your time. I'm sure you will share your time once more with us on the International Fab Talks. Thank you so much. But before we end, we'd like you to give us three gifts in the form of three powerful words. The first three words that come to your mind, share it with us. Apart from please, sorry, and thank you, you could gift us with three powerful words to the International Fab Talks.
Well, the first powerful word I would say is respect for me. Uh, Maybe that was instilled in me as I was growing up. Give each person his due respect. I believe every person in the society has his due respect. And well, sometimes you are taken for a ride, because some people who are they don't take it in the right sense, because I always respect the other person. But if the other person is not right, if it's slightly crooked, he takes that as an advantage. But never mind, I still feel every person has his due respect, even if you're very angry with a junior in office, with person who's working under you. But I still feel when I'm shouting at that person, I should have it in my mind that that person also has a dignity, and I should always never disrespect his dignity. So respect for our elders, respect for everyone, respect even for the juniors is very important. Number two, I would say, is love. I think without love, nothing survives in the world. Love is so very important. Love is a particular emotion which helps you grow. For a woman, I think love is so very important. Again, love changes everything. That is a song. I love that song. Love changes everything. And third, I would say peace, because peace comes as a catalyst in this particular world at this moment, and it matches. I need that so much, because I was told I react very fast and I get angry so fast. So the back of my mind, I always put peace there, calm. So I always tell myself, calm down, cool down, bring peace to yourself. When you have peace within you, then you can bring that peace around you. Well, I think these are the three things.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, you've given us the last three gifts like it's respect, love, and peace. I think all of them out will agree with what you've shared towards the end. The world works very well when we respect one another and when we have that universal love for one another. And this is how we should bond very well and create a lot of peace on this planet. Let's stop the war, requesting all these leaders who are at war, killing innocent people out there, to focus on these three aspects: respect for humanity, love for humanity, and peace across the world. Thank you so much, Sharmista ma'am, for being here with us. Dr. Sharmista, thank you very much. Stay connected and stay blessed. We'd love to have you
Thank you,
once more with us
Crystal.
on the Fab Talks.
Thank you so much for being having me with you this evening, and I would definitely love to be with you once again. I really enjoyed this particular session so much. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Stay connected. So, dear friends, with this, we come to an end now to the International Fab Talks for today. If you like what we are doing on the International Fab Talks, stay connected with us. Like, comment, subscribe, and share to the International Fab Talks. And above all, do us a favor share this video with the right kind of people. You never know who may be inspired by what has been shared today, how one could evolve from a traditional background to a progressive thinker, how one could be strong in the face of all difficulties, or how one could be more aware of the surroundings, empowering oneself and empowering others as well, how one could be a great mother, a great pet mom, and much, much more. Do share this video with the right people. And of course, above all, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and protect the environment. And keep smiling. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.